Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Shielded Soul Legacy. Sometimes it's space being made. I've been thinking today about friendship, companionship, and something that can be sometimes difficult to accept. And that is, every smiling face isn't necessarily your friend, and every person who applauds isn't necessarily celebrating your victory. Now, I don't say that from bitterness, and I don't believe we should spend our lives suspicious of everybody who enters them. But I do believe in discernment, because sometimes people walk beside us because they genuinely value who we are. They enjoy our presence, they care about our well-being, they want to contribute something to the relationship just as naturally as they receive from it. And then there are relationships where, over time, we begin noticing something different. The conversation happens when something is needed. The warmth appears when something is available. We're pouring and pouring and pouring until one day we look at the relationship and ask, when was the last time anything was poured back into me? That's an important question. Not because every relationship has to be perfectly equal, for sometimes someone we love will need more from us, and someday we may be the person who needs more from them. That's part of being human. But there's a difference between someone going through a season of need and a relationship built almost entirely around extraction. And when I recognize that difference, I don't have to become angry. I don't have to seek revenge. I don't have to embarrass anybody. And I certainly don't have to allow the experience to convince me that everybody I meet will eventually do the same thing. I simply become wiser about access. Maybe that person belongs farther from the center of my life. Maybe they become an acquaintance instead of a confidant. Maybe I can still wish them well without continuing to provide whatever originally kept them close. Because boundaries don't always require confrontation. Sometimes a boundary is simply a quiet adjustment. And something else I've learned. When someone leaves, or when I realize that a relationship isn't what I thought it was, the empty space can initially feel like loss. But perhaps every empty space isn't meant to be immediately filled. Sometimes life clears something from our peripheral vision so we can finally see what was standing behind it. Sometimes the absence of one relationship creates room for another. And sometimes the space isn't being prepared for another person at all. Maybe it's being returned to you. So when someone else's action showed me something I didn't necessarily want to see, I can be disappointed without becoming destroyed by it. I can appreciate what was ever genuine, learn from whatever wasn't, adjust my expectation, protect my peace, and continue forward without carrying resentment with me. Because every departure isn't abandonment. Every ending isn't punishment, and every goodbye isn't a loss. Sometimes it's simply space being made.